Yeah, so we're going to be talking a little bit more about Twitter because guess what? Elon Musk announced that Twitter is getting a new CEO. So a long time ago, Elon said that he would be stepping down as CEO as soon as he found someone dumb enough to take the job. And apparently he did. And it's a woman from NBC Universal. Basically, Elon made the announcement on Twitter that he's going to be stepping down because he hired a new female CEO. And it's recently come out that Linda Yaccarino, who is basically the head media manager at NBC Universal, is going to be stepping up and taking the part. And at first, this was met with a little bit of confusion because a lot of people like Elon running things. A lot of people don't like him. Nobody knows who this woman is, but she's basically Susan Wojcicki light. She's an advertising executive who's basically coming in to help monetize this platform. And as people are digging into her, they're finding more and more weird stuff. Like, for instance, she was involved with the World Economic Forum, something that Elon Musk has been openly critical about. She's on video talking about the benefits of ESG and things of that nature. So she seems to be completely counter to these free speech ideas that Elon has been proposing or championing. But she was also appointed by Trump to certain managerial positions as well during his administration. So nobody knows what quite to make of her quite yet. But I wanted to get your guys' take. Tom, do you think that this new CEO stepping in is a good thing? Mr. Connors?
No. No, because the moment that she would have probably taken over, like that midnight, the morning of, I got booted from Twitter for 12 hours. For no good reason. I don't even know what the hell I did. They didn't tell me nothing.
Well, bro,
so no,
you can't type the N-word in multiple tweets. That's gonna happen.
I've done it time and time again as long as Elon's on there, and I haven't had a problem.
Caught up with you, bro. I'm just saying.
N-word this, N-word that. No.
And you posted an entire snuff film the other day. I mean, dude,
I know, right?
What are you?
And that guy deserved it.
And that bukkake porn you sent me was really gross, dude. I don't know.
That was between you and me, Matt. That's a step too far.
Actually, Tom, it was you posting that video of you eating pineapple pizza that got you.
Somebody deepfaked me over Odin.
No one wants to see that.
I'll do it.
That's it.
No, I really don't know what the hell I got booted for. And no, I don't like this. I don't like the type of things that she's a part of or been a part of, and it scares me. And I agree with the whole Susan Wojcicki 2.0 statement there, basically, and I don't see this going in a good direction. This is going to make the wokes happy, though.
I don't know about.
Well, he probably wants some of those wokes back on the platform. I mean, they're all just more stats, right?
So. Odin, what's interesting about this selection is basically, so she's coming from an entertainment studio, NBC Universal. And she's basically an ad expert. She's someone who basically launched Peacock and figured out an ad revenue model for Peacock that worked. Peacock's like one of the few streaming services that's actually making money, even though it's not one of the biggest ones.
And they're the cheapest.
And they're the cheapest because they're ad supported, which is what she kind of pioneered. And so ever since Elon took over, he's been trying to monetize Twitter to get it to a point where it's actually profitable. And it seems like him bringing this woman on is directly related to that. So what's your take on it? Do you think that this woman's expertise in advertising can translate from NBC Universal to Twitter?
I mean, I think it's possible. Obviously, when it comes to Elon, just like with anybody, I think sometimes there's this, we tend to create this messiah complex, right? Where we think people are there to save us, right? This happens with a lot of politicians, with a lot of, influential people. And I think that there might be some people who fall into that with Elon too, but he is a smart businessman, right? He has made a lot of really good decisions. So I'm going to, again, until it's not a good decision, I'm going to, trust him initially on this one, because I think it's interesting how this is kind of the reverse of something else we've seen, right? Because there was the whole town hall, really a debate earlier this week on CNN, right, with Caitlin Collins, and people started looking up her backstory. And at one point in time, she came across as a very conservative, hard right individual, and now apparently she's not. So I think that people, one, can change over time. For one, two, we don't know whether what someone is saying publicly as a matter of policy is what they actually believe or think. Now, that actually makes me more doubtful about them, because I want people who are going to, actually, speak and not just, hide behind personality or hide behind just something that's, facade versus anything else. So again, it seems like she's being hired because of what she has been able to do. And so I think if that's going to be the focus, and Elon is still the one in charge, I think that ultimately, if she starts making decisions, that's going to be hurting the platform and the free speech part of it, especially, then she'll be gone very quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah, Matt Vader 74, Odin makes a good point here. Where basically Elon is bringing her on to kind of run the day-to-day operations of Twitter, like the finances and stuff like that, so that he can step back and kind of do like the meta decision making portion. But there is no more Twitter board. It's not a public company, so she reports directly to Elon, and if he doesn't like something she's doing, he can come out and be like, hey, stop that. So what's your take on this? Do you think it's smart for Elon to bring on a new CEO while he kind of like steps back to take a broader view of the organization?
I mean, yeah, I do kind of think it is something that he should do. I think it's important that he does it. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of this stuff going on in this silly little Twitter app thing. He's got Mars to colonize, right? He's got Teslas to build and a really cool super space truck to make that we can all go buy here in a few years.
37 years.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It's just, I mean, any of us probably would do the same thing, right? And it's not like he's not going to not be there. He's going to give her a direction, say, this is where I want the company to go, and this is what you need to do. And if things don't go the way he wants, then he always has that option to get rid of her. He can do that now. It's his company.
Yeah, he's in charge.
The buck stops with him, regardless. So, it is what it is. It's not. There's no board anymore, like you said, and I think that in the end is what will. If Twitter is going to survive, that's what's going to make it survive, is he's going to be able to steer the ship the way he wants it. And if somebody's not towing the line, then he can get rid of them and put somebody else in there that maybe can't.
Yeah.
So that's
Brian,
that's the way it is.
Brian, what's your take on this? Because she was a part of the World Economic Forum, which we all know is pretty evil. And also, she's a part of the Hollywood elite. She's a part of the advertising world, and she's also a big proponent of inclusion and diversity in the workplace. So it seems like she's kind of counter to everything that Elon stands for, and yet he hired her to run his company.
Yeah, no. So the thing about the World Economic Forum is there were also people there that there were a lot of people there, not just people that were cheerleaders for it. So we don't know what her purpose there was. Number one. Number two, she's sort of hot. So I got a thing for older chicks. And
yeah,
jokes aside, though, the hardcore leftists are really showing and some of the right people, honestly, the hardcore left and hardcore right are really showing their insanity right now, and their idiocy, because what they're doing is they're going, finally, someone's going to take care of Twitter. Get Elon out. And you're like, what are you talking about? I think some of these people think that CEO is like the person that owns it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a job. It's a job title. CEOs come and go constantly. So if you're on the right and you think this is a horrible, bad thing, consider this. She's not actually in charge. She's running the day-to-day operations, and he still owns the business. He's still the boss. And if you're on the left and you think it's a good thing, because she's going to make changes that you will agree with, again, he's still in charge. He's still the boss. It's not a public. There's no board. There's not a publicly traded company. He's the boss. If she does something that she doesn't like, he'll just change it. It's just that simple.
Pay out your contract. Move along.
Yeah, move on. Yeah. Or if you don't want to change it, get out of here. Yeah. So it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a thing that needed to happen. Elon Musk is not the day-to-day CEO guy.
No.
He's a visionary. He starts and stops companies. He creates things. He's a startup junkie. He's gonna continue to be, to be him.
I need him to go make the chips they're gonna put in my brain to make.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like, he's not the guy who's sitting there like worrying about the hiring of the next marketing of a VP. Like that's not what he should be doing. Honestly, get it on track. Get someone in there that can run the day to day and move on, and then step in when if she makes a stupid decision. That's right.
Speaking of moving on, let's get to some super chats real quick. We got Wolverine Snicked, who just became a new YouTube member. Thank you for joining, Wolverine. We appreciate it. Fluffy Panda for $2. Guys, he saved 22% by hiring a chick. Praise Elon. He got her at a discount. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Westfield 90 for $4.99. Elon plays 4D chess, so I trust him. He hasn't disappointed yet. After CEO tweet, he said no shadow banning on Twitter. He knows what he's doing.
Hey guys, if you could do me a quick favor, if you like this episode and it tickles your fancy, or any other episode that we've done in the past, share it on social media and tag us in that post so that we know you're talking about us, and we will immediately jump onto that app and we will respond to your tag, and we can talk about what you like about the episode and possibly talk about something that we might want to cover in the future. And we would love to bring you in our community. We have a wonderful Discord app as well. There's a bunch of people in there that just love chatting with us. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you like this podcast, tag us in that post and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much. Back to the podcast.
So I wanted to get your take on this, Razor. Elon Musk has chosen a new Twitter CEO. Basically, he's finally keeping his promise to step down and kind of be like the overseer of Twitter. But this new CEO, basically, her name is Linda.
Is a steaming dog shit fire. Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to get your take on her, and if you think that this is a smart move by Elon to bring her on board to run Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think smart even enters into the calculation there. I said this a little bit on the stream that I had last night. But Elon Musk has been pressed on this CEO question a number of times by a number of people. And there's a screenshot of a conversation he has with just a random Twitter user right around the time that he put up that poll saying, should I step down as CEO and blah, blah, blah. And I think it may have been in that thread where he was replying to someone, and someone was like, so who's going to be the CEO? What in the fuck? Where are you going to find this fucking CEO? And Elon's reply was something to the effect of, I've been looking for a CEO this entire time. The problem is all the candidates are shit. They're all the entire pool of prospective CEOs for Twitter is utterly, unremittingly terrible. So I honestly think that's the only reason that this chick is in this position. I think it's the reason she is so awful. Or not as bad as she is, she's probably. And I don't think people realize how bad the pool of candidates among big tech CEOs is. They're all going to be shrieking, shrill ideologues. They're all going to be. And Elon Musk
all came from modern universities where they just preach that crap nonstop.
Yeah. I really think that's all it is. I don't think he's head over heels for this bitch. I think he's holding his nose and literally he's pushing this button like he's holding a bag of turds. That's kind of what's going on.
Her expertise is in advertising. I think he's bringing her on just to try to get Twitter profitable while he kind of focuses on the bigger picture. But stuff has been coming out about her with her involvement with the World Economic Forum. And I believe there was a video of her talking about, ESG and diversity and inclusion. She's like a big supporter of that. Do you think that, this is going to be a net negative for Twitter?
I mean, it kind of depends on how Elon decides to run it. The acquisition of Twitter for Elon was, there was an element of this platform is going to shit. Someone has to do, there was an element, I think, in the back of his brain of I'm going to save this platform. But I also think in terms of his actual corporate formulation, he has this large concept of this all-encompassing social media network that he wants to build. And acquiring Twitter, actually, believe it or not, as much as he overpaid for it, saves him billions of dollars in constructing that and in establishing it as a brand and such. Like, he would have had a much higher uphill climb in establishing that if he hadn't acquired Twitter. So
True.
I don't see him. The reason I mention that is I don't see him taking that far a back seat, because this is really his baby, maybe even more than like Tesla and shit. It's something that he's wanted to do for a really, really long time, from what I understand. So I think I don't see him taking a very laissez-faire approach. I almost think this woman is, if she's doing anything, is going to be kind of advertising. Look, if we see shadow bans and shit, which, by the way, shadow bans are still around. People are like, oh, they're going to come back. It's like, when did they leave? They're still around all the time. You see it all the time.
Yeah, now they're called quarantine bans, where they just sort of quarantine.
Exactly.
Space,
Look,
right?
people are still getting banned over bullshit. I mean, granted, any social media network with bad moderation, that kind of shit's going to happen, even for non-ideological reasons. But I don't see him stepping back that far. I just don't think Elon has it in him unless he sells it. I really, really don't.
Right.
So I think this is almost ceremonial for this chick.
Razorfist,
Well,
do you remember that tweet he made where he said, save Twitter, save the world? And then like 3 months later, he bought Twitter?
Right? That's
Right.
that's kind of what I'm referring to when I say there was sort of he was putting his cape on and
Right.
swooping in to save the day a little bit, because
Sort of
he
an
had the
ideologue
means
almost.
to do it.
Right.
I don't think it's the entire reason, though. There's also a self-serving side where he wants to use this as a linchpin for his mass social media network that he's going to build.
The X app.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we kind of joked earlier that Yakarino is kind of like Susan Wojcicki light. Do you think what do you think of the prospects of Twitter transitioning into like a long form video platform that could actually compete with YouTube in terms of offering people monetization for their content?
You would have to do remarkably little to beat YouTube at their own game right now. They've been fumbling for so long and so hard.
So true.
Honestly. So I don't think YouTube realized the amount of peril they're actually in. They have an already established brand that people already go to. All Elon has to do, all Twitter has to do, is just not be invasive with this long form video content. Make it voluntary. Just make it a separate tab on your fucking Twitter and feature it prominently, and keep it out of our way for the most part. As long as it doesn't turn into a like what Instagram did, where they kept fucking up their design. As long as that doesn't
Real
happen.
Stories. What's the difference? I don't even know.
Exactly. As long as they don't fuck it up like how Instagram did with their design, or Facebook did and such, you'd be surprised. Remember for a minute there where Facebook was outperforming YouTube streaming and even some Twitch streaming, and then they fucked it all up?
For a small period, that was the case, yeah.
Exactly. Look at what happened when you had an established brand that just didn't shit the bed for a little while. If Twitter plays this correctly, it would not be hard to beat YouTube, actually, because they've been fucking up for so long, so habitually.
Like, what do you think YouTube's been fucking up?
I mean, what haven't they been fucking up? I've been covering it fairly exhaustively. The preferential moderation, the complete lack of moderation in some cases.
Dude, if I see another Jimmy Kimmel clip at the end of a video, I'm going to lose my mind. I have now blocked that account. I have complained. I hate Jimmy Kimmel. I don't want to see a Jimmy Kimmel clip. But every time I'm watching a video, the second I turn around, it auto plays Jimmy effing Kimmel.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do about it.
Channel strikes for 3 seconds of Japanese heavy metal on our stream. That's, you know.
Oh, dude, the fucking, oh my God, the way they've been handling copyright, which is complete abuse. The way that they've been handling copyright is, and this is a lovely little bit that a lot of people don't even realize who have been complaining about copyright on YouTube. If you get copyright claimed, YouTube actually have a sweetheart deal with many of the record companies. So they actually make more money if music in your video is claimed. They get a better ad split with the record company if they have to share the revenue with the record company than if they share it with you, because you get a better ad split as a creator on YouTube. For how much longer that'll be, especially if you're part of a network. Like I'm part of a network, you know, a lot of people are. You're getting a really good ad split, and they really want to copyright claim you. It's one of the reasons I don't do Metal Mythos that much anymore, because it's a complete headache editing around everything. But they've been doing that kind of shit for the longest time, and of course the end result is there's lots of creative genres that were popping up. and they're not really happening anymore. Hell, when I did Metal Mythos, very shortly thereafter, there was a whole field of clone channels that popped up that were all doing Metal Mythos. And it was like, that doesn't happen anymore because everyone gets hit with copyright in 5 seconds and they can't do it. This is just one example of a bunch of different genres that popped up. You can't do, I mean, what the fuck is fair use anymore? They don't even give a fuck. And the moderator of whether or not you are using fair use is the people who are making the copyright claim to begin with. They're the moderator. They get to decide if it's a copyright claim.
And they can not even be the rights holders. They can be some random person.
Oh yeah, happens all the time. You get phony companies that just claim everything, and it happens, dude. I've had to deal with it constantly. Some dude in Yugoslavia claiming your video.
Yeah. His Gmail is like warnerbrothers@gmail.com, and you're like,
Razor, I think the biggest value proposition that Twitter has in terms of like, being a video hosting platform is that YouTube basically restricts what you are and aren't able to say. Like if you mention anything about vaccines or politics that goes counter to the narrative or like whatever, they will shut down your channel.
That's another thing in correlation with copyright or content. Sorry. The big headache with copyright is even if you edit around it, if it detects it, even if you're not demonetized or whatever, you're de-recommended. Your video, if I get nicked for any bit of copyright, like if I use an ending song, and this happens all the time, I'll have one video that doesn't have copyrighted music and it gets the normal number of almost 300K views, whatever the fuck it is. And then I'll make a video the next time, maybe about an even more popular topic, and the people who see it fucking love it and share it all over the place, but it gets no traction on YouTube because it's not recommended, and it gets like 1/9 the viewership because no one's seeing it. It's not sent to people's subscriber feeds. People don't realize that if you get copyright claimed, you don't get sent to subscriber feeds.
Yes, Razorfist. One of my channels has 100,000 subs, and we actually met with our quote unquote rep, and we're like, hey, how do we deal with these copy claim issues before we go public? He goes, oh, it doesn't matter if it's legit. You can just fight the claim and you'll get the money. I'm like, no, but that's not the problem. The problem is if we go live with a yellow check mark, 250 videos now, it's 100%, like a 10% serving at most.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
wild
if you're lucky. It's suppression 100%, and they do the same thing for controversial content. If you don't even put Trump in your title, mention Trump in your video a few times and see what happens. It detects what you're saying in the video because it has to subtitle it anyways automatically. And, if you're mentioning any controversial topics, if you mention bad words, whatever, it will absolutely ding you and you will be I mean, I hear it all the time. And then the other big thing that they do, which has been happening to me and many other channels for a long time, is you get a report at the end of the month of how many subscribers you gained and lost, right?
Yep.
I have never been in the negative ever. We're always gaining thousands and thousands of subscribers. And I mean, I don't think the number of subscribers I lose in a given month, even on a controversial month, is more than double digits.
Right.
And yet you keep spinning your wheels and your channel doesn't grow because they periodically cull your subscribers and they don't put it in your report. They don't in your report. They don't. There hasn't been a day that I've woken up in the last fucking 5-6 years where I don't wake up to a shitload of comments on the channel from people saying, I was unsubscribed from you. What the fuck happened? I was unsubscribed. What the shit? I'm glad that I noticed and blah. And it's like, if those dozens of people noticed, how many hundreds of people are being called and they're not noticing?
Right.
That's what they've been doing. Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, was interviewed years ago by CNBC, I think, and said, we're not censoring people. We're not censoring anyone. We're just going to keep you in your own little bubble. And people just aren't going to be able to see you. That's all that is. We're not deplatforming anyone. And dude, that's the exact strategy they have employed with anyone they construe to be guilty of wrongthink for many, many years.
That's true. Yeah.
Twitter can win just by not doing that.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what do you think Twitter can do to kind of lure creators over to their platform in order to compete with YouTube?
Honestly, if they just don't do the things that I described, they're naturally going to accrue an audience. Especially if it's, because here's the thing: if you're not allowing controversial issues on your platform, guess what? As Jerry Springer learned years ago, as the WWF learned in the late 90s in the Attitude Era, controversy creates cash. People like to hear and watch content relating to controversy. It draws viewers and interest. And if your platform is so anathema from anything that might be construed as controversial, all someone has to do is come along and start talking about it and push your shit in. The hell, I mentioned the WWF in the Attitude Era. They were getting their butts kicked by another company, WCW, and WCW had gotten a little bit edgy, but not all the way. They got edgy, but up to a point. Then they started moderating themselves, and WWF was like, "Oh, so all we have to do is not moderate ourselves, and we win." Fuck, okay, let's do that. And so for the next year, they proceeded to slowly turn the ship around. And ultimately, within a 2-year period, they were steamrolling the competition. That's all Twitter has to do.
Next thing you know, DX is outside the stadium on a Jeep with a giant machine gun on it.
Right, wait, we're the fucking howitzer. Absolutely. So that's... you'd be surprised how simple it would be, especially when you're already a platform with the kind of name recognition and the kind of daily users as Twitter.
So we need to go Attitude Era with the channel. That's what we need to do.
Well, see, I always was, so I don't need to change anything.
Yeah, and they already have kind of like a live stream system in place with Twitter Spaces and stuff like that. If they just transition that to video,
they still have the Vines. They had Vines, like they have the short
and Periscope.
Periscope.
Yeah, they got everything they need to create whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So real quick, Razorfist, we had a super chat at the beginning of the show from the Joker's Voice for $5. He says, "Hail S&P, yet another amazing guest. To you, Razorfist, I tip my hat. Can we get a fuck you, I was right, please? Hashtag keep talking."
Fuck you, I was right. I am so sorry for being so late. But man, I don't
okay.
know. I'm just hoping my internet holds here. So.
And then we got a $5 super chat from...
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.